Oh. Hello, people. We are live. And welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show. I am your host, it's Kieran Stewart. And today, we're a man down, but we're not weaker. Doesn't matter, we just make up for it. We're a table with usually 4 legs, but today we're like a stool, and that's still strong. Don't worry about that. Today we have, up the top right, we've got Steve K. How you doing, Steve?
Yep. Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to the show.
And in the bottom right down there, we've got the marksman, Jerome Marks. How you doing, Jerome?
Evening, boys. Yeah, all good, thanks.
Good. Even this up. That's better. I didn't like that little... it was like a row of Kit Kats. I didn't like that. I weren't really feeling that. It was a bit tight in there. Yeah. So, it's been a busy week. Hectic week. Anyone that's seen the page, it's gone a bit crazy. Today, we're talking about Southampton and Newcastle, our team focus. How they've got on in the league, how they're expected to get on, key points in the season with Southampton. How did they get over that 9-0 loss to Leicester? How did they bounce back from that? Well, they certainly did, and they finished the season well. And, of course, the youth system at Southampton is well renowned. Who could come through? Who do they need to loan out? Who do they need to get rid of? And their signings. Who are they looking to sign this summer? And who are they looking to ship out? And their predictions for next season. We're doing the same with Newcastle. Plus, we're adding what's going on with the Newcastle takeover. Is it on? Is it off? It could potentially be back on. So we'll wait and see. We're looking into that. Of course, we've got the Golden Boy selections. We're going to see what the Golden Boys are saying this week, whether there's any transfer links, whether they've signed a new contract with their team, whether they're progressing into the first team of their team that they're currently at. We're going to talk about them. And, of course, we're going to call it the world famous transfer roundup. And I only say that because we're getting tweets from Japan now. We're getting tweets from Canada, America, Mexico, the lot. All over we are. So I'm saying it's the world-renowned transfer roundup. But first, we're going to start with Southampton. Southampton, Ralph Hasenhüttl, manager, took over last season, steadied the ship. It looked like a new revived Southampton. They got their buzz back again, and they started off the season with a 3-0 loss to Burnley. And you couldn't be mistaken if you was a Southampton fan for thinking, oh God, maybe it was a bit premature, the excitement of the new manager. But straight away they turned it around, and they look like they're being a bit more consistent this year. So, Steve, what would you say? How would you say Southampton's season went?
I think it's gone very well.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously they had the 9-0 sort of thrashing by Leicester, but they've a lot of teams would fold from that, but Southampton haven't. Ralph Hasenhüttl has got them together, and they seem to be pushing up. Well, at one point for European place. The guy who let the goals in has come back to a bit of form, Angus Gunn. Although he's not their number one at the moment, but he's got his confidence back, and he's basically come out and said that it's all because of the manager. So he's obviously doing a good job there. But at the same time, we must say that Southampton would be doing a lot worse without the goals of Danny Ings.
Yeah.
Been an absolute. Definitely got to have been their player of the season, along with players like James Ward-Prowse, and also they've struggled at the back a bit. They have struggled at the back, but then again they've got the shining light of Jack Stevens, who's done incredibly well. Che Adams has come in; he's been pretty poor. The coach has said really that he'll be moving on, along with Yannick Vestergaard, who they've paid a lot of money for.
Steve, you're about to finish the whole segment in about a minute. Bloody hell. wait.
But that's it.
One thing I do want to press you on, Steve, and this is Jerome and Steve. After the 9-0 loss, most teams would have been calling for the head of the manager. Most fans would have been saying this is a disgrace. We don't want this man in charge. They'd have been standing outside with pitchforks and lanterns. How commendable is it for the board to stick by their man and the fans as well to look? They were obviously embarrassed by the situation, but they backed their man. They backed their team. How commendable is that, Steve, in the situation that they were in?
I think it's absolutely fantastic. More clubs should be more like Southampton. I think Southampton have always been known as a club who was basically, which you'll go through later, who's been good with their youths, brought them through. They stick by them. They're stuck by their manager, and they've always been known to have a fantastic board behind them. And Southampton have always been known for that. Been known for the family club. They look after their fans. They've always been known for that. And therefore, they've always looked after their players, their youth. And therefore, it goes back down to their staff and with their manager. So they've stuck by him. And good on them.
Yeah. Jerome, how as a fan, how would you have felt after that 9-0 loss? Would you be calling for his head?
It's so easy, isn't it? If you lose a game 9-0, which I think has only happened once before in like Premier League history, it's easy to like make a knee-jerk reaction and just say, "Oh, get rid of the manager." But looking a bit deeper into the manager, he's very, very highly regarded, and his sort of history in terms of management, he's done very well at previous clubs he's been at. I mean, he got Red Bull Leipzig to second in the Bundesliga. So I think the board obviously believe in the manager, and you could get a bit of pressure from the fans, can't you, after 9-0 defeat like that, especially these days with your fan cams. But look, I just put it down to like a bad day, a very, very severe bad day at the office, and just move on. But yeah, definitely fair play to Southampton for sticking by their man, because it's easy just to say get rid of him, but they've done well. It
is, and obviously they knew the manager that they were bringing in. They knew his pedigree, and they've looked at the results around that. They've looked at it, and it's obvious it was a one-off. It's obvious a little bit of bad form around that afterwards, but that's that a 9-0 beating. It's going to knock the stuffing out of anyone. So it's very hard to bounce back, and it took a few games, but they did that. They did that very well. Once, Steve, you was talking about the kind of players that you think they need. What do you think they need?
They need defenders. They seriously need defenders, because without the players like
Van Dijk.
Van Dijk.
You know what I mean? That's you forget.
He did help, didn't he?
Yeah, just a little bit.
But I mean, they need defenders, because as I say, the main centre back has let them down pretty badly this season, and I've heard that from quite a few Southampton fans, and that was the one I just mentioned, Yannick Vestergaard. He just hasn't. They paid a lot of money for him, and he's just not coming up trumps.
I think they thought he was going to be a lot better, didn't they?
They did.
He's not hitting the pace. I think he had a couple of good games early on, and then after that, he's not been any good at all. And
you can tell about. We'll go into the links later that they're looking for, and you can see that Ralph needs. He knows that he needs defenders when you look at the links that he's been connected with. So it's definitely his defence that he needs to do. So he's got James Ward-Prowse in the middle of the fair.
AKA, I like to call him James Ward-Beckham, because mate, the whip on his free kicks is unbelievable.
Incredible. You've got a young kid, Small Bone, who's been fantastic, and then they've got Danny Ings up front, who's been knocking in the goals. But Shane Long not been really doing it. So
for a while.
For quite a long while now. Defence. Definitely need to sort out that defence.
Yeah, and as you said earlier, Danny Ings, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and there's a lot of weight to carry. Being scoring 22 goals in one season, which is for in any team is a good tally, but for Southampton is excellent. Is there anyone up top with him that you feel could maybe add to that, Jerome?
Well, they bought Che Adams, didn't they? I think from Birmingham, and they expected that. Oh, sorry. They expected big things of him. I know he scored a quality goal against Man City that people might remember when he lobbed the ball over the keeper. But he was. I think he was probably the one they were sort of thinking he could build a good partnership with Danny Ings, but just hasn't managed to happen, unfortunately. But thankfully Danny Ings has come up trumps.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's only the third Southampton player to score 20 goals in a season since there was James Beattie and obviously Matt Letizia were the other ones.
James Beattie.
Yeah. I mean, Stuart Armstrong's popped up with a few.
But that's the thing. It goes Danny Ings 22, and I think James Ward-Prowse 5, and then it goes down and down and down. If you lose Danny Ings, you're in a relegation dogfight. And I know that with a lot of teams, if they lose their top goal scorer, and it sounds like the obvious thing, but there needs to be a little bit. There needs to be a little bit of burden taken off of Danny Ings. And even if it's not burden on his shoulders, in his head, it's you're putting all your eggs in one basket. You need another man who's going to score. Che Adams, one thing I can say about Che Adams is I thought he looked a bit more settled towards the end of the season after the restart. He looked a bit more confident. He's a powerful guy, and if he's intelligent with his attributes in the Premier League, he can be a dangerous player. It only takes a few good games to get your confidence up, and then I think it'd be a good partnership. But we'll get on to the transfers now. One player that you were saying that they're looking at, Steve. Was a centre back they were looking at?
I mean they're after Difiso Sifuki. I mean they've been after him, and today they're linked with Tyrone Mings again, and also Newcastle fans. They've been linked with Jamal Lascelles today as well, and then there's Carl Walker-Peters.
That'll be done tomorrow, I think. Carl Walker-Peters.
You're
saying, yeah.
So it's defender. They're really looking deep into their defence there, and there's Conor Gallagher. They've been out. They're looking at as well.
Conor Gallagher, Chelsea. On loan. He was on loan at Charlton. I've watched him a few times when I went down to see Charlton. Very good player.
Swansea as well.
Very much a Southampton-like player. I know it sounds odd, but he's like honest, hard-working, good technique, good work rate. He's. I think he'd fit in well there, and I think he'd get used as well. That's the one thing with these young players that have been loaned out. It's finding them a club where they can carry on that consistent run, so they can progress. I think Southampton would be brilliant for Conor Gallagher. I really rate him. He's a good player, and he scores goals as well. So that's probably why they linked to him. One player that they have already got in, who the signing was completed on Wednesday. If you watched our little Twitter, our Instagram or Twitter video with our friend Samuel from Ghana, he mentioned that Mohamed Sessulu deal would be done midway through next week, and on Wednesday, 12 o'clock, near enough, it hit. So he couldn't have had that more spot on. One thing he did say about the defender coming in, he said he's destined to be one of the best defenders in Europe. If he can, he's got the attributes to be one of the best defenders in Europe. There's very high hopes for him in Spain, and there is in Ghana. He was also in talks with Newcastle, but the takeover issues. It was too much uncertainty, the takeover issues, that he didn't really want to sort of go that side of things. and so he's opted to go to Southampton. If we can get some words from the defender, because of our link with Samuel, we will. So make sure you write in the comment section. Let us know if we've got any questions for the defender, so we can maybe put him their way and ask the question for you.
There's a couple more. There's a couple more. One player that Jerome or yourself might know about, but Michael Omofemi. Whose development has been really fast this season.
Very good.
So he could be. They should sign him up for a long contract.
Yeah, and I think they will. Martin Obafemi, he's a player who's in the Golden Boy nominees, top 100 nominations. Bit of a backstory on him. He was actually at Watford as a youth player, got released, didn't take it too well, had a year out of football, went to Leighton Orient, and then got picked up by Southampton. So he's built up a bit of character along the way, and he seems like that just as a person. When you watch him interviewed, he seems like a very down-to-earth guy. Again, I speak about players that come in through your ranks and of that sort of mentality. Keep them, show them there's a way, show them there's a development in your team, because they're like worth more than their weight in gold. Trust me. Back to Mohamed Sasseru. Jerome, you had done a little bit of analysing on him. What did you think?
So potentially, Southampton could have got a player here that could prove exceptional value for money. They got him for anyone. They got him for about just under £11 million, which these days is obviously quite a low fee. Now he had a release clause, which is why he cost that amount. In short, he looks excellent. Before COVID in La Liga, he had the most amount of clearances in the league. He's 6'3". He's only 21. He's very calm on the ball. He doesn't panic at all. And I think that might be due to the fact that because he's been playing in the Spanish league, where it's quite, it's a bit more of a technical game. He's not sort of ones that just whacks it clear when he's under pressure. When he's under pressure, he stays relaxed. So yeah, he's very front-footed as well. So if he sees the ball and he sees an attacker in front of him, he's going to go for the ball. He's that sort of defender. So he might end up, when he comes to the Prem, he might end up committing a few thousand. Yeah, he might commit a few thousand actually, but that's his game, and he seems quite good at it. From what I've seen, he doesn't sort of commit a lot of fouls doing that. He generally wins the ball. But they could have got an absolute bargain here, Southampton. So yeah, hopefully he'll slot in. He'll be a starting centre back for them, and see how he settles into the Premier League.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good signing for him. And fine. And youth players, youth. So we like to look at the team when we do a team focus, and we like to look at their youth teams, see who could come through, who's got what it takes to maybe push into the first team, who maybe needs to go out on loan. Jerome, did you spot any youngsters you thought were of the level of pushing through?
So, unfortunately, I haven't really. I didn't really see anyone that sort of caught my eye.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no, it wasn't. Because I know obviously normally Southampton are known for having like a really good youth setup.
Yeah.
They so many players have come through their system throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I couldn't spot anyone. Maybe it's just my eyes weren't working properly.
They've just pushed through Martin's Obafemi, so that's one. So that's kind of cheating. But I mean, in the youth team now, I see players like Nathan Teller, very pacey, very dangerous on the ball, very direct, loves a shot. He's 21, but this is, for me, he's a player that needs to be going out on loan. Sitting in the under-23s is going to do him no good. He needs to play men's football, because for all you can say, men's under-23s, it's a good mixture, but it's still kids' football. It's not men's football. He needs to go and play in a League One, in a Championship, and get roughed about to see whether he's what he's got about himself. If not, loan him to another team across the river, Belgium, France, one of them teams. These players need to go out. I will keep beating that drum when it comes to under 23s. If you've got players in the under 23s who are not looking like they're pushing into the first team and they're starting to get over to 20, they need to start playing men's football for me. But on the flip side of that, some younger players in there. Jack Turner's only 17, goal scoring midfielder, absolutely incredible season. I think he got 13 games, 7 goals, 6 assists, absolutely tore it up. Caleb Watts, very good central midfielder, great passer of the ball, very good vision, good tackler. And Morello Mitchell, striker, good finisher. He's a little bit like Danny Welbeck, definitely one to watch. And predictions for next season, boy, how you think Southampton will get on with, you don't have to go league positions, but how do you think they get on with some of the signings that they're looking to bring in?
Well, I think they had a good season this season.
They did. Finished 11th.
They finished 11th, and I think they'll do the same next season. I think they'll finish round about the same. I think they'll finish round about 10th, 12th, 11th. If they have a really good season, they might get 9th. I don't know. They're really going mad with the old signings that I've heard in the summer. There's a lot leaving. There's Fraser Foster going out, Yanna Venegard going out, Guido, Galito, Mohamed, I can't pronounce the name. I'm sure Elisiu and Ilanusi, Wesley Milt and Mario Lamina have all been quoted by the manager as going out. So,
and that's what you've got to do. A lot of we were only speaking the other day about how we're not seeing many departures. We're seeing a lot of transfer news of people coming in, but we're not seeing any departures. Now, this is the way to do it. You want him out. You make it clear. Then they're not a part of your future. So move them on. They got 52 points. They finished 11th. Just behind Burnley and Sheffield United, who finished on 54, and them two teams were classed as having an excellent season. So you can only class Southampton as having an excellent season there, as you said. Jerome, how do you think Southampton will get on next year then, with the signs they get in?
Yeah, well, as it stands, look, it looks as though they're shoring up the defence a bit. But I think they're going to need Danny. At the moment, they're going to need to have, Danny Ings is going to need to have another big season. I think that's important. How many goals he can get next season. But yeah, as you said before, they finished 11th, and they were 19th in November. So if they can finish around the mid-table, I think that'd be a half decent season for them.
Yeah, it'd be a good one. So Southampton are predicting good things, but please, someone help out Danny Ings. Next up, we've got Newcastle. Newcastle have been absolutely through it this season. Absolutely through it. I feel sorry for Newcastle and especially their fans, of course. But we're going to start off with the takeover. There was a lot of talk early doors that the takeover was done. Then it was the takeover's not done. Then it was the takeover's off. And now it's the takeover's not off. What it seems like to me, it seems like the Premier League were dilly-dallying with regards to making their mind up was whether they're going to allow Newcastle's consortium of together to take over Newcastle and make them a Galacticos team. But apparently the Premier League didn't make any decision. They made no decision and they left everyone in limbo to the point where the Saudis decided to pull out of the deal because they felt insulted by the fact that there was no decision and it was just a bit dilly-dallying. So in my eyes, it seems like the Premier League has done wrong because surely it's down to them to make the decision, to say yes or no. They are the ones in charge. Jerome, there's a lot of talk about the human rights issues with Saudi Arabia. But surely if that's the case, the Premier League have to turn around and give a decision of you're not fit and proper. Yeah,
that's it. It's the limbo, isn't it? It's the keeping them in limbo, which is the annoying thing probably for the fans. if if they don't say pass the fit and proper test, let the fans know, rather than keeping them sort of, keeping it up in the air. Because I think that's probably the thing that's annoyed Newcastle fans just in general over the years, is just the whole limbo side of things. But it's, as it stands, it's not looking likely at all, is it? And it's a shame for the fans. They've probably got their hopes up, and thinking they're going to sign all these world-class players, and it's not looking likely at the moment.
Yeah. Steve, do you think it's a distraction for the players? The whole talk for the takeover. Do you think it's a distraction for them?
Yeah, definitely. Because just the players and the manager, more importantly, because none of them know whether they couldn't have known whether they was coming or going, whether they was playing for Newcastle next season or whether they was not. I mean, Steve Bruce must have been wondering, will I be a Newcastle manager in a few weeks' time or a few weeks' time, or when the season starts, or will I not? But I tell you what, Newcastle ended up finishing 13th, and I think he's done a fantastic job. To get them through all that's going on. I mean, I feel like you've already said right at the beginning, I feel so sorry for the fans. It's just dragged, like Jerome said, it's dragged and dragged. And there's this human rights thing, and it's like a catch-22, isn't it? Because you're seeing it from one side and you think, oh, yeah, I've got all this money, I can buy all these players. And then you're looking at the human rights side and you're thinking, then there's that. I think there was hope from the Newcastle fans. There was hope. I think all the other fans from other clubs just knew, because nothing ever goes their way. Ashley always seems to mess things up. And as far as I knew, the Crown Prince, Mohammed, was it? I can't remember, bin someone. Sorry, Newcastle fans, for not remembering it. But, they were so close. They were so close to emulating or getting to where Man City are and being in that situation. And then they had it all just dragged and taken away from them. And I just feel so sorry for him. And £300 million just, thrown in the bin for them.
And people have lost money as well. People have lost money, because you've got to put a 70 million down payment to even have the fit and proper test. That's 70 million gone. It seems it's a bit baffling that the Premier League are asking for 70 million to take a fit and proper test, and they're not even doing the fit and proper test fitting properly. It's odd. So, Jerome, how much of a distraction do you think it was for the players and the manager? You need to unmute yourself, Jerome. There we go.
Sorry, boys. I don't think I said some amazing stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That was an exclusive.
That was exclusive.
How much would it have distracted the manager and the players? I think Steve Bruce is, he's an experienced guy. I don't think he would have let it affect the players, and so I don't think so. Is the answer to that one? So no, you can't let it, can you? You've got the players have got a job to do. You can't let what's going on in the boardroom or above that affect you at all.
No, you can't. But it'd be very hard to ignore it to the point where you're pretending you can't hear it. And I mean, if you're a fringe player, are you thinking that you're going out? If you're one of the normal, the squad players, are you thinking I'm going to get replaced? Well, there was a lot of talk about the manager not having his job there. There was talk about Pochettino coming in and taking his job.
He got on with it, didn't he?
He got on with it, and
he got on with it.
I do have to say, as we move on to the review of Newcastle, I felt that Steve Bruce, when he first came in, was unfairly judged, scrutinised and criticised by, the fans, the press. The press saying he's not the right man, he's this, he's that, they should have got in this man or that man. And then he's come in and done his job. Okay, the start was a bit skew-whiff, But I mean, look at the team he's having to deal with, and this is no dig at Newcastle itself, but this is clearly a team that's had no investment. The fans have been calling for it. The owner doesn't want to be there, and Steve Bruce has come in and done an excellent job. There's no real consistency to their form, but they're getting wins. They're scraping jaws. They're scraping results, and it's clear where they're dug in, and it's clear where the pitfalls are. They're not scoring enough goals, and they're leaking too many. But they've still managed to end up 13th in the league. And
you know what? And you know what, boys? Like you said, before the season started, the media would have had you believe that, Steve Bruce wasn't the right man. And Rafa Benitez done, an incredible job with him. Rafa Benitez, in his last season with them, finished 13th. And this is where Steve Bruce finished this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point, yeah.
And all there was talk of when Rafa Benitez was there was he needs the investment, he needs that. But it's clear that whoever goes in there at the moment, Steve Bruce or Rafa Benitez, they need investment. And the talk coming out is that they've got 35 million to spend. I mean, what are you going to buy? Is it? and when we say 35 million transfer budget, that includes the wages, and if you've got an agent fees, that includes the agent fees as well. So that's what's worrying. That's what will give no hope to the fans that are listening. To hear stories like that, and what players you need in your team and what positions, and to think 35 million, how far are you going to stretch that? I think 3 of their main starters in their team are loanees. There's no way to Bentaleb. He's a loanee from Schalke. Who else have they got on loan? They've got Danny Rose on loanee from Tottenham. So they've got loanees in, and they're starters as well. They're not squad players to bolster up your team. They're starters. Let's get on to the players they brought in. Joe Linton, 39 million. It's 39 million. I looked at Joe Linton, and I only looked at his stats from previous. But they weren't really screaming out to me, 39 million pounds, this is the guy for the job. Steve, I know you've got links in Germany. Did they say anything about what Joe Linton was like previous to when his time in Germany?
Yeah, I mean, not before he come, because we was all led to believe he was this saviour of Newcastle. He was going to come in and save them. But obviously, when he got here, and he basically looked like, to put it mildly, like just a big lump up front who really couldn't run, couldn't finish, and couldn't hit a barn door. Then obviously, like you said, I spoke to a few people just in conversation in Germany, and they was absolutely baffled how they actually bought this player for that amount of money. But he's just another thing about why Newcastle seem to do everything wrong, or it goes the wrong way. They've signed Andy Carroll up for another contract. Where's that come from? Maybe I'm wrong. What confidence does that give your fans to say we're going to sign Andy Carroll up for another year? Yeah, he ain't been on the pitch for 2 years, but they signed him up on another year.
He must have taken a wage drop. He must have. I'm sure Andy Carroll's on decent money, isn't he? He's got to be taking home 60 a week. I honestly believe somewhere along the line, Mike Ashley does it for a laugh to wind Newcastle fans up, because he does so many things that you're just like, what? I mean, they have got some good. They have bought some good players. There are 1 or 2 good buys. Like Alan St. Maxim.
Yeah.
Jerome. When I first saw him, you thought, oh, he's a bit erratic. But he's lively. Yeah. But he seems to have, as it's gone on, he seems to have levelled that out a bit. He's still kept that energy, but he's a lot more dangerous, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a proper live wire. His numbers aren't great, to be fair, in terms of like goals and assists. But I think with Newcastle, their top scorer has been John Joe Shelby, and he scored 6 goals all season. But yeah, St Maximin, I think a few other clubs were sort of looking at him before he went to Newcastle, and he's their sort of, he would be their go-to guy next season. Like, I think they're going to rely a lot on him, and he's going to be under a bit of pressure, I think. But he's obviously got the attributes to, to be a big star for them. But he just needs to be surrounded by, some better players.
Yeah. Steve, what are you thinking of Alan St Maximin? He's a live wire, isn't he?
Oh yeah. He reminds me a bit of the Wolves player. Very strong, really well built.
Armada Traore
runs at one of these players who you just, no matter whether you're Man City, whether you're Chelsea, whether you're Man United, if he's coming at you, he's the one you're frightened of.
Yeah,
he's
unpredictable.
Very unpredictable. I thought Almiron was going to come in and sort of help him, and they was going to be a good partnership. But again, it hasn't gone right completely. They need to buy a striker to help him. They get a striker in to help Maxim. Then, I mean, Dwight Gale done his best, but not. He's not.
It seems to be, but every club Dwight Gale goes to, it's like he'll score goals, but they still don't rate him. They still don't. He's not the guy they want. Yeah.
You're right. He scores goals, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Wherever he goes, he seems to score goals.
And it's funny. It's funny you say that Maxim reminds you of Armada Traore, because that's what I think. I think he reminds me of the raw version of Armada Traore. This one now is a lot more polished. Literally greasing up his arms. He's literally polished on a match day. But he's a lot more composed version. But I remember when he first started, when he came through at Aston Villa, very erratic. One game he'd play a 10, the next game he'd play a 4. And that's what he was like up until Wolves bought him. And he's just, something there is clicked. And I think that will happen with St Maximin. I think a couple of more seasons in the Premier League, I think this guy is going to be a serious talent.
They need to keep him. They need to keep him, didn't they? They need to keep him.
But if you got an owner like Ashley, it's potentially one in a couple of seasons. You sell him at the height of his peak and use that money to reinvest in the team, because I can't see any other way that there's going to be any investment in this team under this current owner. Matty Longstaff could be on his way out. Is there any news on that one, Steve? I know there was talk about him going to Udinese. I think you said there was another team in for him.
Leeds are in for Matty Longstaff.
Yeah.
And that link is sort of one of them ones where each every other day it seems to be getting that little bit stronger.
Yeah.
But they can't sell these players.
Yeah.
If they're going to sell players like Matty Longstaff and Maxim and the guys at the back, Jamil Lascelles and the goalkeeper. I mean, someone help me with a name, please. Again, top player, very good player, top player. These are the players they've got to keep and they've got to add. But you're saying that they've only got 35 million to spend. I really worry about them.
Yeah,
really worry about them this next season.
Yeah, so do I. Their youth team players. I mean, it was. I can't lie. It was pretty bleak. We've got a player there called Thomas Allen. He's lightning quick. But this kid needs to go out on loan. He needs to get some game time. Again, men's football. It can't be playing under 23s for too long. Needs to loan him out to somewhere across the borders, or get him in the Championship, or get him in the League One team. See what he's about. Elias Sorensen, he was loaned out to Carlisle, and I think that's what he needed. It's stopped by COVID. I think he was loaned out in January, so didn't really get too much game time. He's played about 5 games, but there's high hopes for these two. But for me, they need game time. They need game time. Steve, did you see anything about any transfers that Newcastle were trying to get in?
Yeah. There seems to be I say quite a few. Harry Wilson, they've been linked with, but he seems to be linked with quite a few people. He was actually linked with Southampton as well. I don't know if I mentioned it, but he's been mentioned with Newcastle. And we talk about players that they've been linked with, and they would be perfect for Newcastle. Josh King has been linked with Newcastle. Someone who I haven't heard of, actually. So maybe one at Jerome you might have, or Kieran, a left back called Ruggiero, a left back, and the one that's perfect for Newcastle, Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's been linked with, and Damari Gray and John McGinn. But you ain't going to get them for 35 million, are you?
Yeah. I mean, like John McGinn, Aston Villa survived, so I don't see how Newcastle are going to be in a position to bring in John McGinn. Callum Wilson would be a very good signing, but how much is that going to cost you? I mean, if it costs you 20 million, I mean, like we said, you need goals. You need goals.
Go for it.
You need goals. And you just got to not sell. Don't sell Lascelles. Try and get in Danny Ings on another season long loan or something. Do something. But you need goals in your team. I'm sure you can. You've won a few games 1-0 and kept clean sheets, but it's up the other end. There's a problem. Your top goal scorer. Your £39 million striker scored 2 goals in all competitions. I think one of them was in the FA Cup against like Oxford or something like that.
And then you got the enigma, which is John Joe Shelvey. I can never work him out. I can't work that man out.
One game is a genius, the next is I don't know. But yeah, John Joe Shelvey. I remember when he was at Charlton. The one thing that many people had said to me while he was at Charlton was, it's his application, his attitude. He's got all the ability to be a top player, but it's just whether he wants it, how much he wants to do it. That's all it was with John Joe Shelvey, and that was people that I know from local as well. So, and they had high hopes for him as well. You don't get bought by Liverpool, get in the England team if you haven't got something about you. So there's something there. It's just, I mean, he's probably at the club where he's most comfortable right now. So it remains to be seen. Maybe he needs some players around him that are sort of giving that lift. Next season, what's the predictions for Newcastle?
I think, depending on who they sign in the summer, I think they'll do well to finish where they finished this season. Just because if you can't score goals, then it's going to be very difficult for you. Also, they get obviously one of their best players, Matty Longstaff. He's available on a free, isn't he, to someone? So he could be leaving. It's really dependent on their summer transfer window. But yeah, higher than 13th at the moment. Not looking too likely. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah. Well, like we said, they need goals, and they need help with regards for money. So until that happens, it remains to be seen with Newcastle. But we think that Steve Bruce has done an excellent job so far this season. So well done, Steve Bruce. It's time for the Golden Boy Awards. Who we got this week, Steve? What you got for me?
This week, I've got a player from Roma. His name is Alessio Riccardi. Why can't we have names like this, eh? It'd be great if we had names like these, Alessio Riccardi. Right. Well, this kid's he plays for Roma, and best way I explained it when I was watching him was he made me want to put on my boots again. That type of player.
Yeah.
The problem is my legs would be probably looking down and saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can't do that. He can't run. 19 years old, Italian, as you probably guess from the name. They say he's a centre midfield player, but he's not. He's nowhere near a centre midfield player. But I had to check this out 2 or 3 times. They all say CM, but he's nowhere near a centre midfield player. He's had 19 appearances this season.
Uh-huh.
This is why he ain't a centre midfield player. He scored 11 goals and 2 assists.
Cool.
One of them, which he was one of the assists, he was visibly had the ump. There was a story because it came off the post and his teammate scored, so he ended up getting the assist. And on the camera on the TV, he was visibly had the ump because of it, and he got a right whacking from his coach. But he's known for his absolutely ridiculous haircuts. Please, people watching tonight, go and have a look at this kid's haircuts, right?
Was that his? No, Steve, that weren't his haircut choice, was it? Tell me that was his receding hairline. I thought he just had a receding hairline at the age of like 19.
Mate, I thought that, right? That was the first thought I had when I see it, right? But then there was this thing about hair, and I thought, well, what's the matter with his hair? So I had a little bit looked deep into it. Oh, mate, this you got. There's no you can't explain it. You got to go and have a look. You got to go and have a look. But yeah, but what a player! What a player! It's fast, excellent finisher. He's really annoying to play against. He's one of these players who was always at your feet, nibbling away. He's dubbed as the next Totti. I mean, they're always doing this, Italians, aren't they? But they have. They've dubbed him as the next Totti. But looking at him, he could be a superstar in the making. Yeah, Alessio Riccardi, good player, top player, dodgy haircuts.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. I can vouch for the dodgy haircuts, man. I sort of saw it. But like I said, I thought it was just bad genes, man. I didn't think it was anything. I didn't realise it was a choice.
I thought exactly the same.
Wow, Jerome, what you got for us?
So I've got a player called Georgie Chittas Villi. Now he's a 19-year-old. His family come from Georgia, but he was actually born in Israel, where his dad was playing football at the time. His dad was I'd call it like a footballing sort of journeyman, played for 25 different clubs in about 15 different countries. But he actually plays for the Ukrainian sort of national team, or the Ukraine team at sort of under 20 level. He's one of these left-footed right wingers. So likes to cut inside, plenty of step overs, feints. He plays for Dynamo Kiev, but he's only played a handful of games for them. But for the youth team, he scored some incredible goals. You can imagine sort of cutting in and bending it into the top right corner. And he's been with Dynamo Kiev for about 8 years since 2012. So he's really come up through the ranks and just broke into the team. So yeah, there's a lot of hope for him. But yeah, still obviously very young. But see what he does next season there.
Yeah, well, maybe keep an eye out for him because he sounds dangerous. All right, people, it's that time again. It's the transfer roundup. Here we go. It's been a busy week.
He loves it.
It's the transfer roundup. It's the best part of the show. All right. Sky Sports reported that Inter Milan boss Antonio Conte could be replaced at the end of the season by Massimo Allegri. Apparently, there was some a ruckus with there was an to and fro between Conte at the end of the season after he accused the hierarchy of not protecting him and his players when they were going for a bad patch of form. He didn't feel like they was backed, not necessarily enough financially, but with words. And he wasn't happy, and he let it be known that he wasn't happy at the end of the season. But the sackings didn't stop there because, he's not been sacked yet. But the talk of sackings and then a sacking didn't stop there because Sarri, after winning the league but getting knocked out of the last 16 against Lyon, was sacked by Juventus and replaced by Pirlo, the magician. Let's have a little roundabout on that. Steve, what did you feel about the old Sarri sacking and then the Pirlo introduction? Remember, mind you, we did speak about this on the show a couple of weeks ago. About there was talk about Sarri leaving, so obviously no smoke without fire. Something was happening.
Yeah. Smoke. That's a good one. Good pun, that one. Yeah. I mean, you can't. We was all saying we can't help but feel sorry for the guy, and wherever he goes to, he just can't seem to settle, and everything just seems to be on his back. And I just can't help being sorry for him. And I spoke to a few fans, and that was read about the same time as that he was being sacked, and they all agreed, and I was quite happy with that, because that wasn't the case when Ragnar got the sack. There seemed to be two totally different ways that they want their football to go, forward, or their clubs. They look at their clubs anyway. But it was quite funny. It didn't last very long because as soon as they knew that they had Francisco Totti, and I went back to the same people, it was like, no, they've forgotten about Sarri now, because if we can get our team to be playing like Frank, way like that, then they're more than happy.
Jerome, do you think it was harsh on Sarri? Do you think the loss to Lyon was just too much?
Oh, it's hard when you've just won a league to sack your manager. It's sort of what more what more can he do? Obviously, apart from the Champions League, I think it's really harsh. But as you said, we spoke about it a few weeks ago, and the writing wasn't on the wall, but you can always see it happening.
It was the dreaded. The dreaded vote of confidence, weren't it?
That's it. Yeah, exactly. But
he will be here next year.
Where next? Where does he go next?
I don't know. I was saying maybe for Sarri, it's a case of go to a team a little bit lower, because when he was at Napoli, he was very highly regarded. The players done what he wanted with regards to his system. There was no big egos, and it worked for him. Maybe that's the level. At Chelsea, you're never going to get that. You're never going to get players that you've got their egos there as well. So
it's the expectation, isn't it, of the club? It's the big expectations. Yeah.
It is. Napoli president Avello Di Laurentiis told Sky that the price of Koulibaly has dropped by 10 million euros to 90 million. When was it for 100 million? I thought it was lower than that anyway.
It's all right.
I'm pretty sure it was lower than that.
It was. In the week, I'm nodding because I've got it told exactly the same thing. So I'm well pleased. Otherwise, my contact would have got a slap if he's watching. So he told me that City want to play less than that. They want to play. They want to play. They wanted 75, 80 million Napoli, and City want to believe he's worth around about 60. And the talks are going to continue next week. But with Eric Garcia's future now in massive doubt, which I can't believe, but it does look like it is. Koulibaly could be putting pen to paper next week, but again, that he wanted to put it in his contract that he was going to be assured of starting. Yeah, that's never going to happen.
And let's go on to contracts. Look, it's been widely known that Koulibaly agreed personal terms with Man City. So you'd think that when Man City are essentially have agreed the price for such player with Napoli, that it'll be easy as pie and the deals will be done. But that's not the case, because this is transfers, people. Things happen in transfers. Things change in transfers. The player was happy to go to Man City. All of a sudden, there's a change of heart, and he wants assurances of first-team football. So things change. See what I'm saying? So a lot can change in a transfer. When you think it's done, it's not always done. Kelechi Iheanacho could be sold to raise funds for Osman Edwards from Leeds, from Celtic. We spoke a couple of weeks back about Leeds being in for Osman Edward. We also spoke about the fact that Leicester are monitoring Osman Edward, probably due to the fact that Brendan Rodgers managed him at Celtic, and he obviously thinks his level can be brought into the Premier League, which is a good mark of someone to sort of take advice from there. If he's seen him in Scotland and he thinks he can do it in the Prem, he's obviously seen what other players are in the Prem and what level they are. So yeah, there we go. Sheffield United had a £10 million offer for Matty Cash turned down. Steve, do you know a little bit about that from your guys at Sheffield United?
Yeah, Matty Cash. There's been quite a host of clubs after Matty Cash. West Ham being one of them. But they're out the running now because literally they've got to sell before they buy. And now Sheffield United, who put in a bid, like you said, for 10 million, it's been rejected. They want 15. Monday is when that meeting will start. I think Sheffield United might get their man sometime next week. But the Forest fans ain't happy. First thing I got onto the Forest fans, and because they're not happy because Chris Wilder keeps nicking all their players. I think he would be about the fifth one that he's taken. But Matty Cash is Sheffield United ain't got a lot of money. You see, people assume that they haven't got a lot of money.
Yeah, so they're opting for Championship chic, should we say? William is set to sign for Arsenal. We followed the process of the William from start to finish. We gave you exclusives that he turned down contract offers from Chelsea each time, and then we gave that William was on his way to Arsenal. We followed that one all the way, and that should be done next week. AC Milan set to Ndombele has agreed personal terms with Inter Milan. However, Tottenham do not want to sell. Tottenham bought him for just over 50 million, and they don't really want to sell him for any less than that. They want their money back, but for a player who's not really done anything so far this season, struggled to get their money back, didn't they? Crystal Palace are set to bid for QPR tricky winger what's his name? Eberichi Eze. Go on, Jerome. Tell me about him.
God, well, I can't tell you how to pronounce his name. That's the start.
Better than me, mate.
He's had an incredible season for QPR. He's 22 years old. He's an attacking midfielder. He's one of those centre midfielders that can literally pick the ball up in the centre of midfield and take a player on. He's very good at doing that. So he can dribble his way out of danger. He's the way he takes his penalties is one of those players where he'll run up to the ball and he'll do a proper deliberate feint. The goalie will move one way and he'll just pass it into the other corner. Yeah, a bit like Bruno Fernandes's penalty technique. So just as a bit of background on him, it's because it doesn't really happen a lot these days. He was released by Millwall in 2016, and he ended up working part-time in Tesco's.
Yes, love a story like that.
And then he ended up having a trial with QPR, impressed them, and they signed him up. He's got a lot of self-confidence in his own ability. He takes up a lot of different positions on the pitch, and maybe because he's had like a bit of a knockback like early on in his career, that might have like strengthened his character a bit. Yeah. He scored 14 goals and got 8 assists this season. And yeah, he looks like one of those players that he can do something a little bit special. Like he doesn't look like your average footballer. So I think he's definitely a player that can play in the Premier League. And if Palace have bid for him already, and I think there's probably a couple of other clubs interested. I believe West Ham might be interested in him as well. He could. He's definitely got potential.
All right. Yeah, I've seen him. He's very tricky. Not scared, like you said, very confident on the ball, likes to take on a man, and he's unpredictable. And I think the Premier League needs a bit more entertainment, a bit more like that. Lille, Jonathan Davies has signed. However, he may not be able to play due to the fact that Lille have not raised enough funds to be in line with FFP this year. The FFP rules will be relaxed as of next year and the year after, but they have to break even this year. I think they've carried over debts of over 30 million euros over the past 2 seasons, and UEFA have put a stop to it, and they've said you maybe only be able to play with players who are already signed to your squad. No new signings will be able to play in the Europa League, and you'd have to drop it down from a 25-man squad to a 23-man squad. So potentially Lille may not be able to do that, but on the flip side, they will be able to because they're currently selling players such as Gabriel, players such as Victor Osimhen who's just sold, and there's about 3 or 4 more players that are due to be going out as well. Valencia, Real Madrid, and Everton are set to make a bid for Saint-Etienne Mohamed Touche Tia. The Gabonese striker is of interest to the 3 clubs there. We have Liverpool keeping tabs on Arsenal forward Florian Balogun. Now, this name's been banned about. He's very highly regarded amongst the Arsenal crew, should we say. Past that, he's known. Most people don't really know much about him, but Arsenal slapped an £8 million price tag on him. They had a £7 million bid was turned down last year by Brentford, and now Arsenal slapped an £8 million price tag on him. Do you think Arsenal should be selling to Liverpool this youth player? We'll start with you, Steve.
No. I mean, we had him as one of our youth watch players, and we all went crazy over him. Fantastic finisher, bullet of a shot, credible goal scorer. In my eyes, ahead of Eddie Nikita. Personal opinion. Fast, quick, just made for. I just can't work this one out. And for the last person you would ever want to sell him to would be Liverpool. Okay, put him abroad a year for a season. Send him to Germany, get him a bit of experience, then bring him back, or like Emil Smith-Rowe, do the same thing with him, get him back. But this is one player I wouldn't let out of Arsenal's sights, and I'm quite taken aback by it, to be honest with you, that they would get rid of him.
Yeah, there's a lot of strange kind of, how do I put it? There's a lot of strange transfers happening at Arsenal with players you wouldn't expect to be going out. The players that you kind of are thinking, hold on to him. I just feel like Arsenal are thinking, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. It's time to raise some money and be serious about it. Jerome, would you be selling to Liverpool?
No, definitely not. I can't remember if I said it on the show last week, so apologies if I did, but Arsenal have given so many youth players a chance over the last few years that they've got someone here that, by all accounts, as Steve said, his goal scoring record is probably the best out of any youth player that Arsenal have had in the last probably 20 years. I think he's averaging like nearly a goal a game or something. And to sell someone like that when you've given all these other youth players a chance would be criminal. I think maybe a few years ago, before the current setup, maybe they might have done something like that. But now I think hopefully they're a bit wiser, a bit smarter, and they realise that selling a player like that to I guess, a rival would not be very clever. If the money is outrageous, I can understand it. But for 8 million, I don't think it'd be worth it.
Yeah, and there's other clubs after him. There's clubs that are in the Championship that are after him. There's probably some lower league clubs in the Premier League that are after him. But
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think selling one of what looks to be your hottest prospects in the Arsenal under 23s to a team that's above you in the league, it's silly business, because there's obviously a reason why they're buying him or want to buy him.
It's definitely a mystery, that one. I'd like to sit the ball down and say why.
Do you know, there has to be an element of why have no one seen him in the first team so far? There's got to be. Why has no one seen him in the Capital One Cup games? Why has no one seen him in European games when there's no more? Why are we seeing Matty Smith on the bench and not Florian Balogun with extra subs that we can use? Like there's looks a bit deeper than just the surface sometimes. And
that's not a sign, is it? I don't think.
Maybe there's got to be some questions. There's got to be asked on the other side. It can't always be Arsenal of doing it wrong. So I think we should dig into that a bit. Another player who's come through the ranks that's been there for years. He made grown men cry the other day. Emi Martinez opened talks with Arsenal over a new deal. We broke the news that Emi Martinez was in talks with Arsenal and he wasn't currently happy with his contract situation. Yes, people, we broke the news. No one else had to put it out there. We had it. Put it out there. You can say we make stuff up, but we don't. Do you know what I mean? The sources gave us this, and it came through. And Emi Martinez Steve, you said he was not currently happy with his current situation. That was previously. He was offered 60 grand a week. Do we know anything more on that, or is it just a case of they're in talks again?
No, they're still in talks. He's not happy with 60 grand a week. He will, and good on him. He's having talks next week. He will get more than 60, and he deserves more than 60. Especially when you look at the goalkeepers in the Premiership at the moment and how they've performed this season and what they're on. For him to be on 60, he's got the chance. He's performed well. He's taken his opportunity, but at the end of the day, he deserves more than 60 grand a week, and he should get it. And I think he will get it. And we brought it out. As you said, we broke it, and the story was true. And next week he'll get more than 60.
Yeah, I think he will. They've seen what he could do. They've seen some of the saves he's done since he's taken over from Leno, and I mean, he's been phenomenal. Monaco finally completed the signing of Axel Disasi. We were speculating on that for a while. We were told Axel Disasi was going to Monaco. It was about a month after that it was finally completed. There was talk that the Monaco were playing with the transfer fee. Rams wanted a certain amount, wanted 17 million. Monaco wanted to pay 14, and I think Monaco paid 14 plus add-ons in the end. But yeah, that's a done deal now. Everton Soares is set to sign for Benfica. However, people, I was informed the other day that Carlo Ancelotti made a personal call to Everton Soares, and this is no rubbish. This was from a very good source, a source that most Everton fans will know. Actually, we're told that he's had a personal phone call from Carlo Ancelotti, and that he's trying to persuade him to join. On the flip side, I had spoken to a source in Portugal who has said that on Portuguese TV that George Jesus, the manager, has turned around and said himself that he is not signing any players from Lingo. When he was questioned about signing Everton Soares. So Everton Soares seems to have agreed a personal deal with Benfica, yet the manager doesn't want him. And he said that on TV. Now, I don't know whether he's just trying to cover his tracks, or he's trying to pull the wool over people's eyes and smoke and mirrors, and he actually does want the player. But it seems an odd thing to say when the player has signed an agreement to sign for your club, and you're turning around and saying that you don't want to sign any players from Flamingo. So that one remains to be seen. I don't think it's over with Everton. It's why I think the Everton Soares story started to pop up again. But it remains to be seen because Benfica are doing a bit of a madness at the moment with signing Cavani as well. On Monday, we broke the story that Gabriel Magalhaes was in discussions with Arsenal and Chelsea. They did meet on Monday. They had conversations. I was since told there and then that a deal between Magalhaes and Arsenal was in principle was done, or they were happy with the terms that were put on the table. And we'll come a bit into that in a minute. Man City inquired about the availability of João Felix. That is not just a story, people. That is true. The Man City inquired about João Felix. Steve, you can confirm that, can't you?
Yeah, they did. They did.
Talked with him, didn't they? He's just talks with his representatives, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did, and I had it confirmed from someone well connected with Man City. I thought it was going to be one of these ones where it was just a fairy tale, but they have actually had talks with João Felix. Where they're going to get the money from? Our Atletico Madrid are going to have to take one hell of a loss, I would have thought, on this. But the simple fact is that they was true, and Pep is interested.
Well, they quoted him as 200 million, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pep's interested, but I'm not sure he's that interested. But also, they look, Man City ain't messing about. They went for Varane. That wasn't just paper talk. That was also confirmed. They went for Varane. They had talks with Varane, and also, people, I will say that the talks between Manchester City and João Felix and Manchester City and Varane went very well, which is why Man City actually put in bids for these players or inquired about these players, because they've seen from the other side that it's good. It's good. Chelsea are in the race for Sergio Reguilón of Madrid. I think since then they've put in a bid. Leicester have made contact with Barcelona over Francisco Triento. Everton are in for Josh King. Kubo of Real Madrid will play at Villarreal next season with new manager Unai Emery. Steve, tell us a little bit about Kubo. Come on.
Before I say anything,
it makes you want to watch him when Steve tells you about Kubo, innit?
Please, when this show's finished, don't go now. Please don't go now. But go onto your YouTube, put in Kubo, and just watch this. This guy, he will be the next £100 million player. Well, not the next one, but he will be an £100 million player in the future, without any shadow of a doubt. He looks like a 12-year-old kid when you watch him, but I've seen him tear people from the top clubs in the world absolutely to pieces on YouTube. He's absolutely amazing. They call him the Japanese Messi, and he's excuse me. Sorry, I was Unai Emery fans. I wasn't coughing because I was just about to say Unai Emery there. It was just, it was a genuine cough. I don't know what Unai Emery's. I mean, I didn't mind Unai Emery. Well, I did a bit, but I don't know what he's going to do with him, to be honest with you. They don't seem to go together. He's an incredible footballer. He's going to be an incredible one for the future. He's one of these players that can just go, that can turn defences to pieces. Go and have a look at him,
Steve. Steve, you know how Emery managed to persuade him to sign for Villarreal. Did you hear
what?
He done this PowerPoint presentation. He showed him like all these. And that was it. He convinced him to sign.
Did he sent him a video, didn't he? I heard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But you couldn't get more. You couldn't get two more
Chalk and cheese, innit?
chalk and cheese characters.
Honestly, I don't know how, because I feel like Kubo needs a free role, and there's nothing free about Unai Emery.
No. I mean,
There
can you
ain't.
imagine Unai Emery going to Kubo right now? I want you to get back. I want you to defend. You'd be like, what? No. He'll ruin him. He'll absolutely ruin him if you did that. The guy's something else. You two boys, you've seen him. He's only small, so he's low at gravity, very similar to Messi. You know, he's very small. So
and he's been through both Barcelona and Real Madrid youth teams.
Yeah,
there's a fun fact for you.
He does. He looks about 12. When I first looked at him, I thought I was looking at his under 15s career or something.
No. He's a player. What he lacks in height, he makes up for in talent. Barcelona are negotiating with West Ham over forward Martin Braithwaite. That'd be a very good signing. Chelsea are closing on the signing of Javier Mumenbia, labelled the next Virgil van Dijk. I think everyone's going to be labelled something, isn't they? Like, I think they need to relax on that. A bit too much pressure to put on the kid. Angel Gomez has signed for Lille and be loaned out for Boavista. He has already been loaned out. Pictures released, I think it was Thursday. Liverpool is set to bid for Norwich City's left back Jamal Lewis for 10 million. 10 million. Are Norwich really going to take that?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think they will. Like, he's one of their best players. I just don't see it. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta held meetings in the week to discuss transfer targets and progression of deal. Jose Mourinho was higher priority on the Arsenal boss's talk. Again, the story that we put out, I mean, it could be deemed as quite loose, but then 2 days later, L'Equipe came out and confirmed that Mikel Arteta's personal preferences in the transfer market would be to bring in Jose Mourinho. So there we go. Manchester United have opened talks with Porto left back Alex Telles. He only has 1 year left on his contract. I'm surprised. I thought Chelsea were in their early doors. They seem to have called on that. The Ben Chilwell. It's 1 minute it's on, 1 minute it's off, 1 minute it's on, 1 minute it's off. The next minute they're going in for Sergio Reguilon. I mean, I wouldn't be spending £80 million of my money on Ben Chilwell.
We all said that from day one, didn't we?
Yeah,
we sort of put that to bed.
And it's not that Ben Chilwell's a bad player. It's just 80 million is too much. And I'm not even talking about this current climate. I'm talking about forever. £80 million for a left back. You've got to be talking about the best left back in the world. Without that, like far out and out the best left back. Not it could be him, it could be him. This guy has to be in the world team of the year to be an £80 million left back. Otherwise, you're getting robbed. Like I would have vetoed that deal straight away if I was anyone on the Chelsea board.
You're talking Kimmich, aren't you? But on the other side, a player like that.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly that. Crystal Palace have made an approach for free transfer Ryan Fraser. It looks like that could be the club he's going to go to, unless anyone knows any different. Burnley are only willing to sell James Tarkowski for more than 50 million. Are we yeah, his release clause. They won't sell him for anything lower than his release clause, which is 50 million. I'll be having a word with my agent.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know what Jerome thinks, but how would you feel if someone's put that type of thing on your head? You're not worth that. Basically means you ain't going nowhere, son.
Yeah.
It's terrible, isn't it?
And James Tarkowski is a person who's on the brink of the England team, gets in and out. He's been in and out a couple of times. He wants to make that move up. If you want to make that move up to be consistently in the England team, like the Euros have been moved to next year now, this is potentially his chance. because there was talk that he was on the brink and it may have been a bit too late. Now this is his real chance, and the noise is probably coming out because he's thinking of moving on. And I
feel sorry for him.
When your manager slaps 50 million on you, it's a bit like you ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, that's it.
Same with Wilfried Zaha, wasn't it?
Yeah, 70 million.
You ain't going nowhere.
And they slapped 70 million on him because they've put in a 25-30% release clause, sell-on fee to Man United. So because they've put that on, they want to recoup that back. So they're adding a little bit more to the transfer. Well, you shouldn't have put that on in the first place. Like you got a good deal out of it, which was getting him back for like, what was it, 12, 13 mil or something like that? When you sold him for 20 something, like you've won in that deal. And then you've got a top class player that potentially kept you in the league or helped you stay in that league at points.
Yeah,
and
it's greedy, isn't it? Greedy.
I think it's time you've got to balance it out a bit and give back a bit sometimes. Otherwise, you're holding the player under duress, and it gets a bit like that. Some players sign contracts to help the club out, but when the club don't help them out, it's a bit of a sore one. Steve, you've got a Jaden Sancho update. Look, for all people that haven't heard about the Jaden Sancho, Steve's been on it from the start. Steve, just run through quickly as you can.
Yeah, Jaden Sancho is now, from all the complicated things that have gone over the last month, has now come down to it quite simple. And that's the fact that they're speaking on Monday. Dortmund are still not moving like they have from day one. They're not moving from that price. And if Manchester United don't want to pay that price, then he stays at Dortmund, which we've said from day dot. So yeah, I mean, they reckon they're going to offer him a new contract on Monday. I don't believe he don't already know that what he would get if he stayed at Dortmund. I think Sancho is desperate to play for Manchester United. Desperate. Otherwise, this wouldn't be going on day after day.
Yeah, do you know what? I think it is. It may not have been desperation at first with regards to he only wants Man United, and but now that he's got it set in his mind, now that all like the things are moving into motion, you get it into your head that you're moving. If you're mentally moving and moving back to England, he's probably already speaking to his friends about coming back home. To have that sort of, it's going to be a bit of a kick. Now, although we've been told that Jaden Sancho's happy to stay and he won't put up a fight, he won't do dirty tactics, we've been told that he won't, which is what I think Man United were hoping that he would do. But he's not going to do. There's still going to be the element of a bit of a kick in the stomach that you was prepared to go home and you're not doing that.
I've got just a question for you both. Like, if he don't go, who's going to come out worse? Who's going to look worse?
Man United.
Man United look worse.
Man United. I think Man United look worse because look. Like, okay, yeah. For all that Man United...
Because Dortmund are going to lose a lot of money, aren't they? Dortmund are going to lose a lot of money. That's the big point.
Yeah, but what? How much... Okay, 100... Dortmund got Jaden Sancho for a nominal fee, yeah? So whatever they make on Jaden Sancho is a lot of profit. They've said they wanted 120 million for Jaden Sancho. So, okay, if Man United put in a 90 million cash all in, there you go, no structure, boom, they'd probably take it. Like if they put in 100 million structured, they'd probably take it. But it's to-ing and throwing. It's playing games. And you want to turn around to me and say that Man United didn't say they 50 million. You want to tell me that all the noise is coming out. I'm not an idiot. These things are put out for a reason. When a club is in a transfer, yeah, and they tell you that, yeah, there's this club in there, and there's this club in, and there's this club in, and you're told yourself that there's only one club, there's a reason why it's in the benefit of the other club to tell you and to make you think, and other clubs and people think that there's more than just one bidder, because that bumps up the price. That gives them a leverage on being able to say, okay, no, well, we could just let this happen. We could just let that happen. We could just do this. We could just do that. That's how transfers work. So if you're telling me that Man United had nothing to do with the 50 million we're only going to pay, we won't be held to ransom for this. We won't do this, and we won't do. If you're trying to tell me that Man United have nothing to do with this, you have no clue about how the media works, and you're lying to yourself. You're straight up lying to yourself. Like, because they do have, like when I see credible people turn around and say, "No, that was all rubbish." That story. They say the story was rubbish. They're not saying that it didn't come from Man United, and they have a wry smile when they say it as well, because they know where these stories come from. They're purposely put out, people. They are that's why, like, read into these things. Read into them. Mm-hmm. It's not always just black and white. Just don't always take it as gospel from one person. Trust me on that one. Where was I? Pierre-Emile Højbjerg's completed his move to Tottenham. Finally, another one. It's on the pinned tweet at the top. Højbjerg signed for Tottenham. Should have been a done deal ages ago. Man City's tried to play games with Jose Mourinho. I think that was just Pep messing around. Because Steve asked his source. I asked Steve, because I was told Højbjerg is going to Tottenham. We ran with it.
Thanks for that, by the way.
We spoke to a couple of people about Højbjerg. Is he going to Tottenham? Because it wasn't out there. We were told they're in talks, and then we were told the personal terms have been agreed. Put it out there, and then we followed it the whole way through. It was great work from the whole team. Brilliant work. And then there was noise, after I was told that Højbjerg signed his personal agreement. There was noise that Man City were after him. So I said, Steve, bruv, get onto your Man City source and ask him if there's anything in Højbjerg going to Man City. Steve, what did he say to you?
he just like attacked me with words. He just said, "Do you honestly think Højbjerg would be playing in Manchester City's midfield?" And that was it. And it was like, well, okay.
Steve asked his source if there was anything in Man City going for Højbjerg, and he got told off.
It was just lucky that it wasn't too long afterwards that we broke the early news on Ferran Torres, and I was able to go to him with that, and he was a lot nicer with that one.
A lot nicer. Brentford striker Ollie Wilkins, Watkins, will be sold for just £18 million after they failed to gain promotion. Surely Said Ben-Rama is involved in that as well. Reports that Arsenal are closing in on Philippe Coutinho. And the reports that Coutinho was at London Colney on Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't know how true that is, but again, from what I've been told, from what we know, with the Coutinho deal, it's the to and fro between Barcelona and Arsenal. Everything on the other end with regards to Coutinho is happy to come to Arsenal. I've heard, but it's Arsenal negotiating with Barcelona, which is the problem. I'm not 100% sure that Barcelona were willing to pay 50% of the wages of Philippe Coutinho, considering they'd offered to only pay 30% of the wages to Philippe Coutinho for when he was offered to Everton. So for them to turn around and say they're willing to pay 50% for Philippe Coutinho's wages, I don't know. Again, this is what happens. Clubs use the media. Clubs use many platforms to spread news, and it's not always. It's generally to benefit them with the player. Ivan Toney update, please, Steve. You got one?
Yeah, I've got an Ivan Toney update. As as we've been telling you since probably day one of this Ivan Toney's transfer started, we've been sort of telling that Celtic have nowhere been near it. All the newspapers have been bringing it out. Us on the transfer exchange, so we've been saying no, just don't believe it. Well, Neil Lennon's finally come out today and said there is nothing, no interest at all in Ivan Toney. So good work from the boys there. And that they are in talks with Stephen Fletcher. And
did he come out and say that today?
He's confirmed it.
Oh,
confirmed
yes.
It today.
And you know what that means, people? That means...
it means I can go and have a rest.
You done it. Well done, Steve. Love that. Because 3 days ago, we said that he's signed. And there were Celtic fans saying, not that fucking car horse. Well, it's a little bit harsh. But if Neil Lennon's coming out and saying he's in talks with a free transfer in Stephen Fletcher, it's probably not far away, but done.
Yeah,
well,
that's today. That's 100%. And so now we've got a straight fight. Now it seems to be at the moment we've got Forest and Brentford, and it just seems to be a matter of who's going to pay the most money.
All right, so we said the other day that Brentford are leading the race. I mean, if I'm Ivan Toney, I'm going Brentford over Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest had a very good season, a very poor end to the season, an absolute disastrous last day to miss out on the playoffs. There was only one result that they could get, was a 4-goal swing either side of both teams, and it happened. I think they lost 4-1, and the team that needed to win 4-1 to take over them did. Absolutely disastrous. Tahit Chong, the big kid, the kid with the afro at Man United, wants to go on loan with Werder Bremen, and I mean, it's not a bad club to go on loan to. They were at a bit of a bad season last season, but they play their youths. They give players an opportunity, and they've just signed one of the players I will be definitely watching. I'm going to be a solid, possibly not a Bremen fan next year, but I will be watching them solidly because they've got Johan Mina in their team. And trust me, people, watch out for this kid. Only just turned 18, and he's absolute fire. He's decent. Zlatan Ibrahimovic's representatives had discussions with Leeds. That is a fact. Whether he signs for Leeds, we don't know. He's currently in negotiations with Milan over signing an extension on his deal. I think it is. It's not yet confirmed, but I think Milan want to offer him 2 years, don't they?
Is it? I thought. Yeah, 2 years.
2 years.
Was it 4 million?
4 million.
Still that 4 million a year.
Yeah, 4 million a year.
Jeez. And these are the people that want to take their club forward, and they think this is a good deal. Well, I don't know.
Jerome, do you think Zlatan Ibrahimovic would be a good signing for Leeds? It'd be a bit exciting, wouldn't it?
Definitely. He'd excite all the fans, wouldn't he? If you're a Leeds fan, you sign Ibrahimovic. You'd be having a party about that.
He's going to score a couple of worldies as well, didn't you?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, I guess he has played at United, but maybe they can look past that because he wasn't there for too long.
I don't think. I think when it comes to players like that, you kind of did he? Was he at United? Don't remember it.
United took Kenton. I didn't know, so they could think.
There we go.
We're taking him.
And do you know what? It's not like in terms of like the mentality and the way, the persona of the player. It's very similar as well, isn't it? Steve, I've been harassing you tonight. Leon Bailey. There was talk about Leon Bailey with was it Tottenham and Everton were both interested. Could you give a bit of the lowdown on the deals that they wanted? Yeah,
I just before we come on, I'll just give a quick little shout out to the person I talked to in German. Not in German. I can't speak German. I wish I could. In Germany, and Tottenham. I'm sorry. They're not even. They've told me that they're not even for Leon Bailey. Simple thing reason is they just can't afford Leon Bailey.
Yeah.
And it leaves the door open for Everton, and there hasn't been any talks as yet, but there has been phone calls. Again, he does like a phone call, Ancelotti, doesn't he?
He's old school, isn't he? He's a bit of class,
like
that man, isn't he? You got to rate that.
There has been phone call between the clubs for Leon Bailey.
He's that guy, yeah, that you send Ancelotti a text, yeah, and 2 seconds later you're seeing his name come on your phone, he's ringing. You're like, hello, Carlo? Yeah, I don't do text. Like, he's the big man. He's the big man.
But Tottenham just, they just, I think they're going to have to sell. They're going to have to sell some players.
They want him on loan, Steve? They talking about they want him on loan.
So they're not going to have that. They want the money.
Come on. Like, and Everton, look, if you want to pay for Leon Bailey, honestly, I think he's your man. I think if you sell Leon Bailey the project, he's a man that said he wants to play football regularly. He doesn't want to go to a club where he's going to be sitting on the bench. He wants to play football. And I think he wants to come to the Premier League. So I wouldn't rule out a Leon Bailey. So we're keeping tabs on it. We've got people in Germany on that.
I think he'll suit Everton.
Yeah, I think he would really suit, and I think that Everton fans would love him. I think it's Leon Bailey's time to shine. He's been touted at some very big clubs. So another thing I would say on Everton is look at the players that they're going for, and look at the clubs that they're losing out to. They're losing out to people in Champions League. They're losing out to people in the Europa League. If you start losing out to people, clubs that are around you or beneath you, then you need to worry. But you're not. And the players that you're going for are some quality players. Just look at the list of players that Ancelotti brought in at Napoli, and look at the list that he brought in previously to all the clubs that he's been at. You're in good hands. You're in good hands. It's just getting these over the line. And even if you don't get these ones here, the ones the next down, I mean, you're still going to be. It's still an upgrade on what you've got, and it will push you up in the league, 100%. Gabriel Michaelis update. So we go from the start. He had talks with Arsenal on Monday. The talks went very, very well. They'd agreed an agreement in principle for the signature of Gabriel Michaelis. He was happy. You would have seen things throughout the week where Gabriel was looking like he was doing little things, and they all, I mean, you think what you want on them. I don't read too much. I don't read anything into them, but he wants Arsenal. He wants Arsenal. Personal terms agreed. I have been since told that the agreement with Lille is not complete, and that they've put the price up. But if I'm honest, I've been told many other things as well. I've been told that Man United are still in for him, and I've been told that Man United aren't in for him. It like I said before, it works in Lille's in favour to tell people that Man United are still in. This is Man United that fully concentrate on one deal at a time. And mate, if anyone's going to tell you that Man United are fully focused on Jaden Sancho at the moment, it's Fabrizio Romario. And he said the other day that Man United are fully focused on Fabrizio Romario, and until that deal's done, they can't see Man United looking at anything at the time being. Napoli are fully focused on getting Koulibaly out the door before they bring anyone in. And yeah, Gabriel Michaelis is coming to Arsenal. It will be a shock if he doesn't, in the situation, in the position that Arsenal are in at the moment. There we go. Jerome, tell people who don't know much about Gabriel what kind of a player he is.
So this is another player, like you were saying before, Kieran, that Everton were heavily linked with.
Yeah, they agreed personal terms with him, didn't they? And near enough had him. He was going for a medical. Yeah.
So in terms of the type of player he is, he's exactly the type of centre-half that Arsenal have needed for donkey's years. He's 6'3". He's very commanding. He's composed on the ball. He's heavily involved in the sort of build-up play. he's actually being described. You know, you get these centre midfielders that are being described as a deep lying playmaker.
Mm-hmm.
So people are describing him, even though he's a centre back, as a deep line playmaker because his range of passing is so good. He hits a lot of long balls.
The old
but
Diags.
precision. Yeah. The old daisy cutters.
Oh, yeah. You know, you tell Jerome he's to play football. Winger.
Yeah.
So yeah. He's as you would expect, he's very strong, shields the ball well. One of his coaches described him as having a lot of character for someone so young. Obviously only being 22. Blocks a hell of a lot of shots. And you get the sense that when you watch him, the forward's got to do something really special to beat him. Even when he gets dragged out into wide areas where centre-backs don't normally enjoy being, he defends very well out there. And for Arsenal fans, I think, you know, if Arsenal do end up signing him, that it could be potentially a very exciting partner for their other young new signing, Saliba.
Yeah, it could be. I wouldn't jump on all over Saliba at the moment. Remember, he just turned 20. To be thrown in at the deep end at Arsenal with potentially a new centre back as well, I think would be a tad too much too early. But it would be exciting times. While I'm here, I'll give you a little update on Thomas Partey. I mean, if you choose to listen to us or not, we've said for ages that nothing will be done with Thomas Partey until they're out of the Champions League or the Champions League is done. I've said that multiple times, so many times, it's unbelievable, yeah? We had Samuel on, he said it. Twice Samuel said it, yeah? But no, someone tweets it with a blue tick and it's like, oh yeah, Champions League. I don't know why no one said that, you know. I don't know why no one's mentioned that Thomas Partey they will talk about the Thomas Partey deal after the Champions League. Like look, we get people from Ghana to come on here who have connections with Thomas Partey. Like, believe them or not, because you want to look at numbers, you can do that. But I tell you right now, yeah, I tell you for a fact, yeah, there's people out there that will give you information on these things. But the problem is with the majority of people is you will only go to them and ask them for information. You won't go to them and have a conversation. You won't go to them and ask them how their day's been. You won't just have general chit chat about their interest. You go to them and you ask for things you want. And the then you'll go away and you'll come back the next day and you're asking for the things you want as well. That's not how you build up a relationship, people. So you want to wonder how we're getting sources or how people are telling us this stuff. It's because we make friends. That's it. It's simple as that. It's not. I say it's not that hard, but it's obviously hard for some people who just want to DM people and ask them what's the update on this and that. Like that's as blunt as I can be. People are wondering why we know some of this stuff. Well, it's because we talk to people and we don't just ask them for updates on stuff. Right? It's not how humans work. Thomas Partey. Arsenal will be going in for Thomas Partey once the Champions League's done. As we said multiple times, it's about respect. It's about class. It's about conducting yourself right. You can be bullish and you can say, oh, we don't care. We don't care. Just get it done. Well, then you're not going to build up a relationship for the next time you might want to get a player from that club. So when you go for that player next time, then the club's not going to, no, I don't want to deal with you. But if you say to Atletico Madrid, we will not mess with Thomas Partey, we won't go in for Thomas Partey while the Champions League's going on because he's an important player for you, then potentially you could get a deal from that. You could structure that release clause that you want. You can, I don't know, but that's what we've been told. We've been told after the Champions League, Arsenal will be back in for Thomas Partey. Whether they get the deal done, who knows? But it's there. Richard Keogh was signed for MK Dons after his tragic car accident where he was found drunk at the wheel of the car or in the front seat of the car. Paul Pogba wants to extend his stay at Manchester United. Finally, the saga could be over. I bet Mini Raiola's not happy at that one, though. Leeds interested in signing Rangers left-back Borna Baresi. Weston McKennie update quickly, Steve.
Weston McKennie update at the moment. It's a fight between both sides of the channel. At the moment, you've got Southampton and Everton. Unfortunately, Everton fans, Southampton are just a little way in front of you at the moment because of the loss of Pierre Højbjerg. Obviously, now they've got a space right in Weston McKennie's position. And there has been links going around in Germany as well. So sadly, Everton fans, that connects a little bit towards there, and that rumour won't go away. But also, he's also being connected with AS Monaco from France, and that rumour's also picking up just as much as the Southampton at the moment. So hopefully we can have more for you like next week on that one. But it seems to be a Monaco Southampton fight at the moment.
Yeah, what I will say is that I think there was talks that Weston McKennie wanted to come to the Premier League, didn't he? So that might play in Southampton's favour. Yeah, I think there's quite a few people that want to see Weston McKennie in the Premier League next season. Crystal Palace are interested in Gerard Deulofeu. Leeds are interested in Arsenal's Rob Holding. There was talk of a loan, but I don't think that's the case. Besiktas are looking at Reece Nelson. They're about to inquire Arsenal for a price. That's a permanent deal. If I'm honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal took that, depending on the price. For me, I don't see. Honestly, I don't see much of a future for Reece Nelson just because of the lack of game time he's had under 3 managers now. I don't see it. And a loan deal, I don't know if that's going to benefit him. I think he needs something a bit more permanent now. I think he needs something consistent. Maybe a buyback for Arsenal if they feel that he's really got the ability to do something in the future. But right now, I don't think it's sitting on Arsenal's bench is the right place for him. Liverpool Liverpool officially had a first bid rejected for Kostas Tismatos. I can't do Greek, mate. I'm awful at that. But it looks like this is a deal that actually will get done. They're going back in for him. And Jerome, you had a look at him. What's he about? Can you first of all, can you pronounce his name properly?
I can certainly give it a go. Kostas Tsimikas.
Well done.
That's very well.
Well done. Wait, you practiced this, didn't you? You did.
I've got a bit of Greek blood. Got a bit of Greek blood in me.
I just about said Weston McKennie.
So you're right. I did have a look at him. On the surface of it, when you sort of just look at it before looking deeply at the player, you think, he plays for Olympiacos. He's only got a few appearances for his country. He's actually, since 2015, he's only made about 46 professional appearances. He's been loaned out twice, loaned out to a team in Denmark, another team, Villi 2 in the Netherlands. And you think, I'm not too sure about this guy. When you watch him, I can see exactly why Klopp's going for him. He's a player that I'd say he's got a lot of he's like a forward-running, hard forward-running player, a bit like Robertson. Attacks the space very well. He looks like an absolute pest to play against. He reminds me a little bit of Gal Clichy in that aspect. Super mobile. I'd say if there was an area where he could improve, possibly technically, he could improve, but he makes up for that with his sort of speed and mobility. And it's a tricky one for Liverpool because Robertson is obviously by far and away their number one left back. So to sign someone that's going to play back up to him is quite tough. But I think, from what I've seen, I think they've got a tidy player here, someone that can step in when Robertson can't play and maybe even push him. He's 24 years old, so he's a good age as well. I think this is a decent signing by Liverpool.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, I mean we said it a couple of weeks ago. Liverpool have to sign, and it's not just a case of they have to sign. They've got to keep players on their toes. You can't, if a player doesn't feel like he's got that competition there, he will relax. Like there's very few players that have that extra bit, which is like this extra bit of self-motivation to make themselves that much better. And if you've not got someone to push you, then sometimes it goes a little bit flat. And you'll see some teams with smaller squads that does eventually happen. So it remains to be seen.
They're definitely looking for a left back, aren't they? Because they sent that guy out for loan. You know, Jamal Lewis, and now this fella.
Yeah.
And I think there was someone else as well.
Because they're losing the I can't remember his name. Lasishi. They're losing him. So I think it's the Leeds, isn't it? He's chosen Leeds, hasn't he? So he's off. Kyle Walker-Peters is off to Southampton. They want to do the deal separately. That's being done tomorrow. Callum Wilson to Newcastle. That's still on. Won't go away. Chittas have contacted Arsenal about the services of Reece Nelson. Just said that. Quickly one on that. Would you sell?
He don't seem to be improving, does he? He don't seem to be improving at all.
He's one of the players that you love, but you don't really know why.
He's one of these players you think, every time he comes on, you're saying you just want him to do so much to do something. And then, like, after about 65, 70 minutes, he gets pulled off, and you're like, there's another performance where he's... So, another loan would be at best for him, I think. But but if you do sell him, get a good price for him. But I'm a little bit gutted over this one. But I think using my brain instead of my heart, I think I think we'll definitely move him.
What you also got to think about, say you loan him out, but there's and I'd say the same about what's his name? Right, I'd say the same about a couple of players at Arsenal, but is it time to move him on? Is it time to loan him out? Like Joe Willock. Are you keeping Joe Willock for another season, or are you bringing Emil Smith-Rowe and sending Joe Willock out on loan? Because Emil Smith-Rowe's done very well at Huddersfield while he was out on loan. Very unlucky to not get game time at Leipzig because of injury. So is it time to give these players a chance who are out on loan? Arsenal look to sell Lacazette after the Aubameyang deal is done. I don't understand why that is. Maybe it's to lull Aubameyang to a false sense of security that his best mate will still be there once he signs the contract, and then sell him. I don't know. I don't understand it. The story was.
I think Arteta. I think he seems to be templating Man City. It seems to be sort of.
No, he is. I did this the other day.
Have you noticed that?
Saka, Sterling.
So maybe he wants someone a little bit more mobile than Lacazette.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows? We'll be doing an Arsenal team focus soon. Don't worry about that. And last up, Ruben Sumaida could be on his way to Benfica as a part of a money plus player swap deal with Andreas Simares. Woo! Like Ric Flair. Done. I should get a better book than that, shouldn't I? The old transfer roundup book should be something a bit special. I should open it up and just like a ray of light should shine in my face. But that is
something special for deadline day.
Don't worry. I think the old magic book's coming out. The old special bow tie, a little shirt number, and just me couched up on my sofa, with my feet up again today. While I'm getting the real hard workers to do the work. But we're done. It's by far the longest show we've done. It was only meant to be, however, they weren't meant to be that long. But thanks to Steve, we've got loads of transfer news that went out on the page this week. Probably a record number of stories that went out. So when I was looking, I was scrolling for about 5 minutes to get to the 6 days, mate. I was like, what the hell? Is this not going to stop? Everything else, Steve. He tells me he was busy this week. Lies. All right, thank you very much.
You could hang me up.
Go on.
I was going to say, at the end of each day, you could hang me up on my coats as you put it on the hanger. I was so like that.
Oh, mate, don't. It's been a hectic
week.
It was
all good fun, though. It's all good.
It's been a hectic week, and thank you very much, everyone, for the support. We're loving it. We're loving the newfound members of the page that are coming. Thank you. Give a little run through. Thank you, Adrian Anderson. Thank you, Neil Gunner. Thank you, Realist999. Thank you, Melvin Mark. Jonathan Cox. I've given you Gabriel and Party. As for Coutinho, I'm not too sure, Jonathan. We're looking into it. I don't know about the Matt Law one. I think he might have been fed a story to sort of quieten things down while the 55 members had just been sacked. That kind of rings a bit true to me. Nitesh, thank you very much for coming to join us. I think that's a new name. Oi, Godwin, thank you very much, Godwin. I'm sure you're still there. I'm sure you are, because I know you love the transfer roundup, mate. I know you do. We are done today. I want to thank the man at the top. It's my chief scout. It's Steve K.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and good luck Southampton and Newcastle next season.
And it's the man down the bottom. He is my new player analysis guy. It's Jerome Marks. How you doing? And I think Jerome did an excellent job today of the old player analysis, giving you a full breakdown on players that we have no clue about that make you want to go and watch them. Well done, Jerome. Quality.
Nice one. Cheers, boys.
Right,
cheers,
thank you, everyone who watched, and thank you, everyone who's watching after. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you ask your questions to any Southampton fans. Ask your questions to put out to Mohamed Sissoulu. Also, if there's any Besiktas fans out there and you're watching, ask any questions for Edwin Gassi, because hopefully we're hoping to get a little interview with him as well. So, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Glenn Cook. Oi. We just got... Hey, tell me, is Glenn Cook one of your mates, Jerome?
No, go on. What?
Oh, brilliant. He said, Jerome...
He's getting love. He's getting all the love.
Absolutely loving your breakdown of players, mate.
Geez, it might be my brother with another name, maybe.
Yeah. Let's go with Alias. Thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers, Glenn.
Stay safe. Peace out. And wash your hands.